So hi everyone, my name is Bill Wang, and I'm currently studying in the private high school in Calgary in grade 12. And I got several offers from different universities in Canada. And it's my pleasure to be the host today. And Sean, you can continue.
Thank you, Bill. Hi, my
Yeah.
name is Sean Jiang, and I'm a 10th grade student at Westwood Community High School, and I unfortunately do not have several university offers yet. But yeah, with that, I just want to welcome everyone to the C&C Talks panel, where every week, we talk and interview guests on topics that affect and are impactful on students. This week, we have Zhao, who is a third-year student at the University of Toronto, specializing in computer science. And in high school, he participated in many math tournaments, having placed in the top 25% and 1% in many. Today, he will be telling us, and we will be interviewing him on the process of transitioning from high school to university. Thank you, Jerry.
Hi.
Coming today.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Jerry, and currently a third-year student in University of Toronto. And yeah, I'm really glad to come here today.
All right, that's great.
All right, yeah. So Jerry, as me, right? I am like a grade 12 student who got several universities offer. I have a lot of questions I would like to ask you because I've been seeking for help for almost 2 months. And the first question is, how did you smoothly complete the transition from grade 12 to the first year university?
Okay, so first of all, I know it's May and it's almost June now. So a lot of students who might already receive their offer. So congratulations to all the students who have already received offer from any universities. And I know you must be excited, also Bill. It is quite normal. Yeah, of course, yeah. And I can fully understand it. So I think the first thing is continue your study. And I think you still have your diploma test, right? If I remember correctly. Or, yeah, so continue your study and yeah, don't just relax right now because you get the offer. Yeah, it is always needed. Also, so once you're past your diploma test, you're getting to the summer. So you have to do some preparation, I think, in the summer. For example, you need to fully more comprehensively understand your university and your major. It is quite important. I mean, you need to find out what you're really interested in, and this is kind of can help you to make your future decisions in the university. Because you have a lot of chance to change your majors. For example, if you choose eco for now, it doesn't mean you will graduate from eco major. You probably will be interested in statistics or computer science in your second or third year. So you will always have a chance to change your major. And so just keep that in mind, just to touch with all kind of different subjects you think you might be interested in, and just have a try. If you think that's a wrong way, then just don't go.
Right.
Great.
So it's very flexible, your major, right? You don't have to stay with it in the first year. You can change it if you're not interested or you find something else you're interested in, right?
Yeah. So also in the summer, trying to make a general plan, let's say for a university, always, that's important. So the plan it includes especially your major, kind of your the path, kind of the program path, let's say. And then you need to decide what kind of courses are you going to take. It's really, really flexible in the university. There's, I think, hundreds of courses you can choose, and you can only choose 10 of them for each semester. So
with you, what course, so when you went into university, what did you think you were going to major in? Was it always computer science?
No, when I got enrolled into the university, I was in the like math, like kind of this program, not computer science. And I made the decision, like I made the change later after my first year study. I can talk about that later.
Yeah, it's awesome. So continuing that, what are some of the differences between university and high school life, do you think?
Yeah, like I think the most important point is self-study. That's really important.
Yeah, I can see.
Yeah. So always like in the university, you need to like kind of review a lot of pre-lecture materials. They could be videos or some textbook, like some chapters, or some like webs. So make sure like so make sure
like
you need to review all of
them. It's
Mhm.
different in the fact that you aren't always being taught the material by the teacher, right? You have to kind of like learn the material first, and then afterwards, the teacher is or the professor is not teaching you the material. So when you actually go into the actual lecture, you're not actually learning the material, you're applying the material, right? So
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
completely,
right.
yes.
So
yeah, so that
so usually like you're going to learn some basic definitions from the pre-lecture materials, and in the lecture, your professor will just directly use them. So it'd be better for you to know like what's he talking about, and don't just kind of let's say like don't miss in the class.
Yeah, like don't go with the flow. And I think that's something that that doesn't just apply to people in university. I think that lots of my friends have actually been using that technique too. And I think no matter what point of your education you're in, I think studying beforehand is a really useful way to just to understand the topic even deeper, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and also
I think that's also like a life skill that you have to know, right? Self-study.
Of course. That's so important. That's so important. Trust me. Oh, and Bill, like you just asked me about like the transition from grade 12 to university. Like there's another point I think I need to mention is like kind of the thing you need to do in your first semester in university, and that's I think it's kind of a habit. That's not only what you need to do in your first semester, but probably it can go through your whole university life. So the really important thing I think is make new friends. That's important if you said you will go to the Western University, right?
So Western University.
Probably you don't know too much friends in like there in Ontario. But you can always make new friends because probably they will also come from like other province, some other places. And so once you have like a lot of friends, you can go to the library and like study together, and you can ask like questions to each other if you two are in this like get enrolled in the same courses, so you can prove together.
Yeah, so friend is also important for you, right? As a life.
Of course, definitely.
And you can like hang out with your friend to ease your pressure, right? If the courses is too heavy for you.
Yes,
and it's always a good way.
Always.
Like a win-win. When everyone wins, you get to relieve pressure with one another, and you get to study with one another. So really,
that is a really, really essential suggestion for me, and thank you.
And also like trying to stick with your professor. Like for example, I mean office hour. There's always like an hour or 2 hours. I'm not sure. It depends on different professor. They will just set up for students to ask questions.
Yeah, I've heard about that. And also I think that is pretty important because like that is the time where you can ask your professor or your PA that they can solve that question like for you, right? Like if you have any question, you can like ask them for help, and it is quite helpful.
And you know what, like even if you don't have any question like prepared, you can also go to the office hour, like probably just chat with the professor. They're really glad they will definitely be like glad to talk with you. And always like the point is usually especially in the beginning of the semester, not too much students will go to the office hour because the learning materials is not like too hard, too heavy. So probably no one's in the office hour, and it'll be like really lonely for the professor to sit with there for like an hour and no one counts.
Yeah.
So it's
Build up your
important
relationship
to-
with the professor.
Of course.
build
Probably
a
you'll need the
relationship with the
recommendation
professor.
letter. Oh, sorry, what?
Yeah.
Sorry,
Sorry,
Sean.
sorry. Yeah, I was just reiterating what Bill said. Yeah, it's really important about relationship with the professor. And so it's like, did you regularly go to office hours in your first semester, or is that something you learned to do afterwards?
I tried, let's say, for some courses, I went to the professor's office hour like really frequently. For some other courses, probably the course I think I will definitely drop. I didn't.
Oh, okay, yeah. That seems helpful.
Okay,
And
so
I hope that will help me.
I'm just kidding. Like, so for all like courses, you get enrolled at trying to get in touch with your professor, even though like you think it's hard. Like definitely when you think it's hard and you think you need to keep going on these courses, go to the office hour and listen for their suggestions.
Yeah, that's a perfect suggestion. And I think I will use that a lot in university life. So thank you, Jerry.
Yeah.
And move on. So, for me, right, after I ended up the high school life, I will have like a plenty amount of time for those summertime. So do you have any suggestion during the summertime?
Oh, during the summer.
Yeah, during the summer. What do you
yeah.
think we should do to like, prepare for your university life?
Okay, so I think there are several parts, like from like academic parts, trying to you can do some practice related with your major. For example, I'm a like CS student, and the following suggestion is just an example for CS students. Like you can do some coding stuff, like kind of practice on that code, and so it can help you to practice your like programming skills, and that might be helpful for you to keep studying in the university. And for like eco or like statistics students, I'm not sure, but there's definitely some preparation you can do on your like academic preparation, and that's
Okay,
one part.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's perfect.
You really want to use all the time you have, even in the summer, to just to progress yourself. At least make sure you don't stay behind, right? And earlier you also touched on something that was really important, which was self-studying, right? And so in addition to self-studying, like also like self-studying is really important, but like during the lecture and stuff, right? When you can also take notes, what do you think is the like best way to utilize the time during the lecture time?
Oh, so during, like, for example, in University of Toronto, we only have 50 minutes before each lecture. It's really short. So focus, and don't chat with your friends. Definitely not. There's only 50 minutes, and professor always talk really fast. And so you have to find the key points and probably make some notes. So yes, like, I mean, don't chat with others or think about some other things or watching videos. Definitely not. You can do it in your dorm, and
don't waste time.
Yeah, it is definitely that you have to pay full attention to the professor.
And if you have any questions in the class, trying to raise your hands. Some professor is nice. I mean, for some like 100 people class, like it's kind of small, then professor will answer questions. But if that's a like 500 or even more, then probably don't do that. I think professor will not answer questions. Yeah.
Way too many questions. Way too many
that's too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are some of the long-term or short-term?
Sorry, I think my internet isn't really good.
All right.
Or it's Bill's problem.
Yeah, I think there's something
Goal
wrong
that you...
their end. That's okay. That's okay. I'll just go. So I actually want to talk on this question because I feel like it applies to me too. Oh, Bill, are you back? All right, I'll just ask the question then. Okay, yeah. So, because I feel like this question is really applicable to me too, even as a high school student. And so that question is, what kind of long-term goals and short-term goals did you set for yourself, in both high school and university, right? Did you like have like a really, really, set out plan, even like in high school and in university? Like, was it like really small goals, or were they like long-term goals that you had to achieve?
I think that's definitely related with the goals I set up for myself. I would just take myself as an example. So that would be easier for me. So from like a really long time perspective, I would like to get a nice job. For example, yeah. So what you need for this is experience, which means you will definitely like to have a good internship or like co-op and a real high GPA. That's what you want to get before you get a nice job. So this is kind of like long-term goal, and we need to divide it into like midterm, let's say. So if you would like to get a good internship and good co-op, you definitely need projects and skills, and also a nice GPA, probably like 3.5. That'd be real high. So if you would like to, get a like high GPA, this is kind of going step by step, like divide a real high, real big goal into several small one. Oh, sorry.
Okay, guys.
Trying to deal with the waitlist stuff.
Yeah. Also, if you do have any questions, we will have a period completely dedicated to you guys asking questions, right? But right as of right now, we will not be taking any questions. We'll only be asking them later on.
Yeah, we can deal with the question from audience later. Like,
yeah, because
we will have a period for Q&A part. So right now we're just asking Jerry. Hi, I'm back.
Oh, Bill, you're coming back.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah.
Where did you
Sorry
go?
about that. Yeah, I just my computer runs into some technical difficulty, so no I kind of left. Yeah. So yeah, as we talked before, the courses in university, because I've heard about that are really essential for your future university life, especially for the first year, right?
So it's kind of stuck, and I can't really.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. So, do you have any suggestion for choosing the university courses? Like,
that's too quick. We haven't done the last question yet.
Okay.
You just lose your connection. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, I lost my connection.
yeah, it's okay. I will answer this question a little bit later. I'll ask again like once I finish.
All right.
So we talked about the goals, and I said if you want like to get a like high GPA, you need to kind of study hard, and you need to like review constantly like what you learned, because that'll be really easy for you to forget it once you like learn it. If you just learn it in the class and don't do anything after class, let's say, that'll be really easy for you to forget everything.
Do you have any like advice specifically for projects? Like, because I'm in high school, right? And obviously the courses aren't as hard. There's not a whole lot of material compared to what you have, right? So for the most part, academics aren't super hard to keep up with and do really well in, right? But like, would it be good to start working on projects right now, like in high school?
The project I mentioned here is more on like CS. It's fine. Like if you think your coding skill is good enough, just go on project. That'll be a really good chance for you to practice and improve your skills.
Yeah,
it's okay. Like it really depends on everyone has like their own situations. You don't need to follow others' plan. Like just think about yourself. If you think that's good enough for you, then just go ahead.
Yeah. Different people have different goals, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Yeah. And do you have any suggestion for choosing the courses in university, as I asked before, due to my technical difficulties?
Oh yeah. Yes, of course. The really important thing is choose what you like, choose the courses, what you're interested in, and always related with your major. That's the key point. Yeah.
Okay.
As I mentioned, like there's more than hundreds of courses you can select in the university. Like it's really flexible. So what you would like to do is probably go over the website, like on your university, it's about like, it's kind of course search website, I guess. So you will like to go over like one by one and find out like what courses you're really interested in. And I think this step you will do on your about third year, I think.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah,
it's not really rush.
Yeah.
Because in your first and second year in university, you will definitely learn some like really basic and general courses, and everyone should do the same thing, I think. Like in UT at least, yes. So you won't have like really high flexibility to choose. But in your third and fourth year, definitely there's so many.
So like your first and second years are more general classes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like calculus, especially in math, and micro and macro economics in eco, and some like practice with R and distribution in statistics, something like that, and basic programming like Python and CS. That's what you will learn.
So those courses are like the foundation of the next level, right?
Yes.
If you don't like fully understand those concepts in those courses, then it's gonna be difficult in the future for you, right? So definitely that is like a key standard for you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I definitely think that too. So Jerry, you talked about how like first year, second year courses are not as in-depth, not as advanced as the third and fourth year courses. But like in comparison to high school courses, right? For someone like Bill, who's going to into uni in the coming fall, like, is there a huge jump?
Please mute yourself. Could you turn your mic off? I'm sorry.
I think we can mute him.
Yeah, thanks.
Sorry, Sean.
Sorry, Sean. So whoever has not muted themselves, please mute it, please.
Yeah, and also just want to remind everyone, do not turn your microphone off. I mean, do not turn your microphone on. Okay. All right. So yeah. So like for Bill, right? How would some like how did the courses in first year, second year university compare to like the high school courses? Are they a lot harder?
It depends. Like for some courses like math, it's definitely like because you're going to learn calculus in the first year in university. But for some other like statistics and eco, you didn't even learn it in your high school. So that'll be completely new, and it will be really hard. Like because professor knows everyone like didn't learn that in your high school. So it's kind of brand new stuff.
Do you think it will be a challenge for you if you like just a new freshman, you know, and started to touch on like those brand new concepts that you have never been through before?
It depends. If you're really interested in that, you won't think it's hard to learn. But if you're not so interested, probably if you will feel like really hard. And
so different people have different feeling. Hey.
You really have to have a genuine passion for it if you actually want to get to the higher level, right? If you actually want to succeed and actually absorb all that material, right? Or else it just becomes impossible to do without the proper mindset. So I guess really just go into what you want to go into, or else, you know.
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah. So don't really find your interest.
Yes, that's right. Don't push yourself to some majors you don't really like, because you know the decision you make right now, like in the university, will definitely impact your future 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, and following that, as we all stuck in COVID, right? And I've heard about that a lot of universities decided to do online learning instead of in-person teaching and learning those lectures, right? So how did you feel like when the lecture just switches from in-person to online?
It's kind of sudden, like due to the COVID-19 stuff.
Yeah.
No one has experience and preparation for that. But for me, I think do more do more preparation, I think, which can help you follow the professor. Oh, by the way, like online learning, there's one I really like online learning. Usually we go over through the Zoom and professor will record the video. So like when you're watching the recording, you can go back and forth if you miss some points and you don't quite understand you can just watch it twice or third times. And if you forget, like before the midterm, for example, you can also go over the videos. That's what I love. So it becomes like much more efficient than the in-person learning. When you're sitting in the classroom, like it's really hard for you to get everything. When professor is speaking like really fast and go over new materials, and you don't even have time to think, like pause and think.
Yeah, it's like being online is even easier than in person, right? Because the professor never cares about you anyways, right?
Yes.
And now you're able to replay their lectures. So
Yeah.
It's really contrasting to high school for me, especially because that like those conversations in the classroom happen a lot more than obviously than in your classes, right? For obvious reasons.
Yeah, right now I'm just I've become so excited to get into university. And yeah, definitely, Jerry, your answer helps me a lot. And moving on, so how does the material in college like difference than high school? Because as we all know, right, high school like use a completely different system than university, and you know those prof just post a different like maybe PowerPoint to different parts. So could you explain a little bit about that?
So I think it's kind of much harder, or from other perspective, you need to learn like more stuff in one semester. So professor will speed up, like move on faster. So that'll be kind of challenge. There's two ways. Like one is become harder, like another one is like kind of faster.
Yeah, so it's like, in high school, you know, there's like teachers that helping you. It's kind of like give you a guide, but in university, it's all on you, right?
Yeah, no one cares about you, really. Right?
No one cares.
Yeah.
No one cares.
Yeah, you're the only one cares.
You know, like one of the professor in our math department, he's not my professor, but I heard some stories from him. Like, you know what, like he makes the all the term tests look kind of really hard, and he's trying to find out some like top students, and then for the students who get like lower than 40%, I think twice, like on midterm one and like term test one and term test two, the professor sends like email to all of them that like I suggest you to drop this course because you can't really follow.
That is harsh.
That's kind of serious, yeah.
Yeah. So it's you can't be lollygag and fooling around in that kind of environment. Yeah, they mean business, and obviously it's going to be so much harder if you don't have a passion for your major, as we talked about before, right? So, but I'm curious about about your choice to enter computer science. So like at what point did you decide that you really wanted to pursue it as a career?
I think it's more on when I decided to join computer science program, let's say, because once I decided to like get enrolled in computer science program, I think that's definitely what I'm going to do in the future. That's my career.
Sorry, whoever's audience is not mute, please mute.
Sorry, if we weren't clear enough last time, I think we said before that everyone should be muted, right?
Yeah.
So if you want to have the privilege of being in the Zoom call, please mute yourself.
Okay, so I will keep.
Yeah, sorry about the interruption. Keep going, Gary.
Just keep in mind. By the way, you can just keep your eye on the like attendance. If that's like someone's accidentally unmuted, you can just mute them.
Yeah.
Or you can. I'm not sure you can try to press the mute all about it.
Yeah, we can have the opportunity to mute.
Okay.
Them. Yeah, it's okay. Keep going. Yeah. Okay, sorry about the interruption.
Yeah, it's okay. So as I like mentioned, I didn't choose like CS program when I got enrolled in TUT. I'm enrolled in like math and like MP. That's math and physics, something like that. It's kind of related, but not CS program. So, but after the first year of my study, I found I'm like still interested in computer science. So I applied to a computer science program after first year, and I got an offer. which means I'm like kind of officially getting enrolled in computer science major.
Yeah, are you excited when you just got that offer?
Yeah, definitely. Like I posted on my like kind of like WeChat and Instagram, something. I said, oh, finally, I got an offer.
Nice.
Yeah, finally you got accepted in. Yay!
That's what I love. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah, and
So-
that is the
Actually, yeah,
time that you started to know that what is your real interest, right?
So it sounds like kind of not too hard, but what you need to do, like, but you have to do a lot of preparation. Like you need to take basic computer science courses in your first year, and since I'm not in CS program, so I must get a like kind of high score to show CS department that I'm really love CS and I learned it well and I can do it good. Something like that.
Especially with CS too, because it's really popular nowadays, right? And it's super hard to get into.
So many people would like to apply computer science program. This is
Right.
I think it might not be the most like hardest program, I mean, but definitely one of the top program that a lot of students would like to apply.
Yeah, I've heard about this for this year for computer science majors. The cutoff line of mark is pretty high,
Yeah.
Oh,
and a
you know
lot
what,
of
like,
yeah.
there's a joke. I haven't verified that yet, but what I heard is the cutoff line for computer science in Waterloo this year, guess what? It's 100.
Oh yeah, it's
Oh, yeah, there's
crazy
only
because
100
a
people.
lot. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
crazy. I haven't verified that yet, but this is what I heard from my teacher and friends.
yeah,
Oh,
that's crazy. A lot of my friends are complaining about it because they apply to CS major as one of their interests, right? And they would
Mhm.
like to go further, and their goal is to get into Waterloo for computer science major. However, this year the cutoff line is so hard for them. So
That's
yeah,
impossible. Like the
Yeah.
cutoff line is 100. Like
100% is too
it's
much.
interesting. That's really interesting. But like, not to brag or anything, but like, there were actually 3 kids from my school who all got accepted into the Waterloo software
Wow.
engineer. Yeah. And but the thing with them is that they showed a genuine passion, right? They had like lots of projects that they were working on, even before grade 12, even before college applications, right? So I think what I saw from them at least was the importance of showing them that you are actually interested, actually motivated to learn on your own time, right? And I think that's that's where like projects shine the most. Like even before you make it in, you should, I think, if you're really serious about computer science, you should have some project to show them too, just so that you can get into the top programs in the
Mhm.
country.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very true, right? So like, right, and so obviously if you start coding earlier, it's a lot easier, right? If you have more projects to show off, then it's also a lot easier to get into the desired program you want, right? But
Mhm.
like for someone like you, right, who switched into computer science later, did you find that like your classmates who started coding earlier were able to learn faster? Was
I-
that something that existed?
I think this is true. Like, for example, I think I'm the one who kind of started coding earlier. Like I learned my first language is Pascal. In the middle school, this is kind of real like language. It is kind of early. Let's say it helps like a lot for me to keep studying for future programming. But it doesn't mean like if you're completely new for coding, it'll be like a really hard for you. You can also study, yeah, like cause professor, the first lecture is always simple, and professor will just teach everyone like from really basic, but probably a little bit faster. The professor will assume you kind of like, get the idea really quick. So for me, I think if you kind of have a basic knowledge for coding, that'll be really helpful.
Yeah, it's really important to start early.
Yeah. So when like your classmates are still learning the basic stuff, you can learn something harder or more difficult.
Yeah, because you already covered it, right? And
Mhm.
then what you talked about earlier, right? watching the lectures ahead, except instead of watching the lectures ahead, you already know those lectures and you're going even further ahead, which is even better.
Yeah, and this is kind of a cycle. If you learn something like harder when you are in, let's say, level 1, so you're learning some level 2 stuff, and you're kind of the smartest kids in your classroom, and they will be like really love to talk with you. And when everyone reach level 2, and you already know level 2 stuff when they're in level 1, so you can keep going on studying level 3. So you're always like one step ahead.
Yeah, but like if you're not a step ahead, then it's a lot harder. So
And
do everything you can
it's
to
same, yeah. If you're like one step back, like when everyone's studying level 2 stuff and you still don't get like level 1 stuff, then it'll be really suck for you.
Yeah, so really do as much preparation as you can before, especially with something with computer science, because there's so much tutorial, so much support online, right? Like you could go into the forum and ask a question, and so chances are someone will help you with it, right? So yeah, no pain in like starting early.
I think starts like earlier. I mean, just for coding, and probably for everything. Like if
Yeah,
I study
exactly.
early, yeah, it's same. Like if you can study the university stuff, like when you're in the high school, for example, or learn your high school materials when you're in the middle school, then it will always be helpful. Like when you're really get involved in this new stuff, it's kind of review for you when it's completely new materials. Yeah.
Hi, I'm back again.
Hey, what's up?
You lost again?
I lost again. Yeah.
I don't even notice that.
Yeah. So we've been talking about like so it's always good to start it earlier, right? And do you think grade 6 or 7 is like a good time for children to start coding?
Yeah, I think that's a good time. That's a perfect time, I think. For me, that's when I get like touch the coding.
Yeah, and what do you think is the best way to learn coding? Because since I know like it's a lot of harder just like typing those code and like using different type of language, right?
I think the first thing is you need someone to teach you. It's better than just follow the book. I'm not sure, but book is kind of like that. It doesn't tell you like when you make mistakes, when you have bugs, it can help you to check your code. So once you know how to program, like really basic, once you know how to program, you can just try to solve some problems or questions on like lab code. It's kind of practice, I mean. And then later on, when I think your skill is kind of, you're quite familiar with one programming language, then you can work on your project. And also, I think competition is it's kind of a good way for you to study.
Yeah. So your fellows will give you full power to keep going. And then whenever you feel like, oh, I'm gonna quit, nope. But my friend is actually keep going, so I have to catch up and do better than him, right?
I think you and Jerry really hit it on the nail, right? It's ultimately it comes down to practice. And practice, right? Just continuous practice on problems, right? And competition also helps too. If any of you guys are interested, there's this competition organized by the Waterloo called the Canadian Coding Competition. I think it's a really great opportunity for even beginners to test out their abilities to solve like these logic problems with coding, right? And
Waterloo has a lot of good competitions.
Oh yeah, of course. Do you know the site called Code Wars?
Sorry, what?
Code Wars. It's a site where basically you can compete with others and do coding questions to like.
Oh, so it's kind of like a website that gives you the opportunity to try a different coding level, and then maybe you can beat the other people to get like sort of like a champion or stuff, right?
Yeah. So yeah, I think those are some really great resources if you're interested in looking into those sorts of harder questions too.
And I just noticed, like someone mentioned in the chat, I think it is Canadian Computer Competition. I think I'm quite familiar with that name. I'm not sure if you need more information, you can just try to search on Google, I think.
Yeah, and there's also
Mhm.
just search in Waterloo, CCC, and it'll pop up. You'll be able to see all of the previous tests.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And also I think the most famous competition is Euclid
Oh, Euclid for math?
for math.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so pretty much that is just like a competition that can use all your knowledge, right? Try to answer all the questions.
Yeah, and that's not enough. Like if you just have basic high school knowledge, it's not enough for you to complete the whole task.
Yeah.
You have to know like lots of like theory too, right? And well, honestly, you can't ever truly prepare for a coding competition or a math competition. In the end, you have to learn that specific if you learn that specific mindset, those specific learning patterns, that's the best you can do. But I think at the end of the day, it comes down to your raw IQ in some cases. But like in easier competitions, that's by no means that's not the case.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
competitions usually don't test what you learned in your school. It's kind of like really wide. It's test your like every side. Includes a lot of details or other pieces of information. So you will definitely, you'll
Yeah,
probably
it's like
not learn in
an
the class.
advanced level, right?
Yes,
It's like
yes.
an advanced level, and once you got all the knowledge, you could maybe try to attending those several competition, right?
Yeah,
To
right.
prove that you actually have the ability to handle it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That is such a wonderful website to use, right? And I think it's also a way that can, promote yourself to a new level. And yeah, you can also write this in your application file when you're applying to different universities. So maybe when the administration like look at your application, right, they'll say, "Wow, this kid actually learned a lot about this program."
Yes.
So yeah, you will have the privilege for that.
And also, yeah, it's same like when you're applying for some internship, for example, or if you're looking for some jobs in the future. If you have like really beauty like resume, if you have a lot of projects or employment experience, that'll be like really good resume compared with other your classmates who just have it like GPA and that's it.
Yeah, it's like your advantage.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like your advantage, right?
No, in fact, there are actually people who have gotten jobs off of just doing so many coding questions. Like on sites like Code Wars and others, they like because you can connect it to your LinkedIn, right? And so there are actually employers who go onto these websites and search for people, and they see that like, well, this guy is solving really hard problems in like a really short amount of time, right? And they oftentimes use those as another way to like interview or like search out potential employees, right? And yeah, I think you are really, I think attending competitions, doing questions is like super beneficial, especially in a field like computer science or any field like.
Yes, it's the same. Not only computer science. I heard some like certificates like SAS for statistics, and a lot of other stuffs. Like if you can learn and do something in your university which can help you, help you kind of doing better, then
yeah, it's like a way of helping you, right?
I don't know, it's kind of tools and some like really basic skills for you to get into the into your career.
Yeah.
And I think we've covered like a very broad spectrum within the topic of university and switching to university, right? And so I think now the audience is very curious to ask their own questions. And so what we'll do
I think so.
From everyone is that we'll make it that everyone is free to ask questions in the chat now, and we'll have Jerry right here to answer them.
I'm really glad to answer this question.
Yeah. So I've seen the first question is like, what kind of a programming language do you know? Like when you're actually like applying those? Like for example, are you using like Python or?
So what's your question again?
It's like, what kind of language do you know for
For me,
computer
right now?
science. Yeah, for like computer science, because I've noticed that a lot of program
Oh,
and
like
language.
Python, Java, and
Yeah.
C language. This is what we have to learn in our first 2 years. And I learned a little bit about assembly when I'm studying just a little bit, like when I'm taking the courses about hardwares.
Yeah, with Python, Java, you have to know those because they're just so widely used, especially
So
like,
important, Python and Java. Yeah, I especially recommend if you're trying to choose a language, like programming language to study first as a beginner, Python and Java is definitely a good start.
yeah.
Yeah.
However, I would say maybe try to go with Java first because then it'll make learning Python a lot easier afterwards.
Mhm.
And then obviously you have to learn like a lower level language, which is like better with hardware like C too. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
like,
and also just touching on that, which language do you think is the easiest to learn?
They're both.
Python, right? Python by far.
I think Python. Python is smart.
Yeah, Python.
Python is smart. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of functions Python already did it for you, so you can just use it. So that'll be like easier for programmer. Let's say. So that'll
It's
be
really
easier
quick to
for.
write. It's really quick to write, and it's really readable too. It's like almost exactly like English to a
Yeah.
certain extent. Yeah.
Yeah, and what I usually mention is Python. For example, like any programming language is just like English. You learn basic grammar and you know how to use it. Then later on, you need to use them to write a paragraph. Let's say you need to use them to write your own project.
Yeah. So now like it's like a test for you, right?
To solve the real questions, real problems. Yeah. And please, I think someone sent a private chat for me. And if you have questions, just post it on the
chat area, right?
the public chat. Yes.
Yeah, what's the public chat area?
Yeah, please. Yeah.
I think most important though is like learning the fundamentals, like learning the theory and topics, and then afterwards you'll be able to pick up any language really quickly. It's about getting really good at just one language at the start though. So we got a question from Eddie who says, hello, I have some questions about the residency. I'm on the waiting list. So if it is not possible to get in, is there any other places to live or rent for student only? What are the pros and cons about the residence? Is this year's school learning in school or online, or can we choose?
I don't see the question. Where do you find it?
Oh, it's in the Zoom chat. Can you see it?
Oh, I see. Like
yeah, once you click on the chat, it should be pop up.
It's basically asking what are the pros and cons of residency at the university?
Yeah, so like personally, like what do you think the pros and cons about the residence?
So, sorry, I was reading the questions through the chat. So,
it's okay.
Yeah, sorry. So I think the residency, it really depends on. I don't know, cause like if you're international students or you're living just in Canada or living just right beside your school. I think if it is online courses, I think if it is online, it doesn't matter you're living in residence or just living at home. I think. But
yeah,
if you're trying, but if I think I'm not sure just for COVID-19 stuff, like if it is still really serious, so I don't recommend it for you to live in the residency, like because there's so many students and it's not safe. Probably you will share the public washroom, I think, every day.
Yeah, gross.
It's just not safe. Yeah,
it's
especially
pretty risky.
in this special period. Yeah. But like, let's say just for regular years, like for me, my first year is mandatory for everyone to live in the like everyone live in dorm. That's quite good. Like if there's no COVID-19 stuff, I mean, it's quite good because you can meet a lot of friends, as I mentioned, and they might come from different majors, but it doesn't matter because you are living on the same floor. You meet every day, so you can chat and know each other real well. And that's a good chance for you to make like more friends. Probably some of them is let's say second year students, so you can learn from them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also as we mentioned previously, right? Living in residence is always a good choice to meet your friend, right? Actually,
Right.
to like get in group of it, and you can know actually like familiar with your campus, so that way you don't get lost.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
You know what? Like we made a like research because we have a like online study for a whole year, and we're trying to ask which building do you still remember, like for. Imagine there's like about 100 buildings in UT, and which one is which building do you think you still remember, and is the definitely significant, I don't know, building
Yeah.
for you, and the result is exam center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got and we got a next question from Darsan Qi. So yeah, how is the co-op situation at U of T? And we all know that Waterloo attracts a lot of big companies like Google or Facebook. So maybe you could have a lot of chance to do the internship in there. But do you think U of T has the same opportunities?
U of T doesn't have like as much, I think, co-op opportunities as Waterloo, like honestly, but UT also have like its own co-op program. It's called ASIP. Like, first of all, it depends on which program you're in. Like, you're in arts and science or engineering. If you're in arts and science, it's called ASIP, like arts and science internship program. And as long as you get involved in some specific programs, I think it's most likely some like computer science, statistics, eco, and some others. I don't remember. As long as you get enrolled in this specialist programs, you can assign for ASIP. And for that platform, I think that's really good, like that platform, and also the one called PUI in engineering. They're both good, and they can also apply to Google and Facebook, I think. I'm going to like get enrolled in PUI next year. I think my goal is definitely Google.
Yeah.
I think the general consensus is that like if like the co-op situation in Waterloo is just like phenomenal, like very much top tier. Yeah, basically. I think you said it really well, Jerry.
Yeah, so it's like a different university have a like different advantage, I would like to say, right? Yeah. And I think U of T also have a lot of opportunities at least for their student, right? Like, do you know a lot of like those chances that maybe you could attend in a lot of like extra activities that could build up your, skills and socializing maybe?
There's a lot of clubs.
Yeah.
I think like like no matter what, like as long as you show that off that you're skilled and motivated, then it doesn't really, obviously it does matter to an extent, but like if you're good, they won't care.
If you're good, yes, you're right.
If you're good
enough, yes.
If you're good enough, then you'll get in no matter what.
This is like kind of just a platform. It means you can apply, but if you're not good enough, probably you won't be that much competitive like with others. So finally, you still won't.
Yeah, and also, as we mentioned before, GPA is really, really important in 4 years university life, right? Do you think that when you are applying for a job, they do look at your GPA, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, they will.
Yeah.
GPA.
And yeah.
Oh, and let's say GPA is important, but once you have experience, like your employment and project, your GPA will not be that important. But don't be really low, like don't lower than 2 or 3, let's say. That's too low.
You have to at least meet the criteria. You have to at least meet the standards with the GPA. But then I guess what really pushes you over is the experience and projects, right?
Yeah, so it's like more like your personal school after you hit the minimum requirement line, right? Yeah. And we got another question from Henry Hu. So what did you do to achieve your math competition scores, Jerry? Did you hire any like tutors, or did you just do a lot of practice questions?
Just to practice. For me, I didn't hire tutors. Yeah. Because it's not like it really depends on how important do you think the competition is for you. If you think that's like this score is really important, and you will use that for application, then probably you would like to hire a tutor, which can help you get a higher score. Definitely, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you think you're just going to attend for fun, just to showing like you have the skills, like you're strong enough, you have this ability, then no need for hire the tutor. Just do some preparation, like some practice timing. That'd be enough for you to
And I
to
feel
attend
like
this.
especially like you have to have like a top score in order for it to actually make a difference in your resume or application, right? Because they won't care if you came in top 30, top 25%. What they really
Yes.
care about is like if you're able to show that you are at the very top, right? They want people who are excellent and outstanding, right? And this is just in my own opinion, but like for a field like computer science, if you know you're already dead set on it and you wanna increase your chances of getting in to a school like Waterloo or U of T, I think in my opinion, I don't think you should stress about those competitions. And like if you're focused on computer science, right, I think in that case focus more on projects than competitions. Obviously you can do competitions if you want, but like as we said before, projects are like so important.
So important.
Yeah,
Yes,
it's really
students.
important. Yeah.
Okay, we also have like another question. It was like asking you if you were doing any web development, like with React or anything.
So far I didn't plan to reach web develop this part. Like there is a focus in my CS specialist program. It's called like web and internet. And for me, I would like to focus more on AI and computer vision stuff. So my current decision is don't touch with web, but maybe just a little bit.
Oh wait, you're doing AI right now, computer vision, right?
Yeah, AI and the computer vision.
Okay. I
Yeah.
actually had an AI question for this project I'm working on right now, right? So I'm using this the like Harris corner detection, right? To like detect the corners on a chessboard, right?
Okay.
Right. And so like I was able to do it for individual images, right? But like how would I implement it to like in real time, like not just upload an image and then it shows you the corners.
I think it depends on your code and how you design for this project. This is kind of academic and really detailed question. And generally, what I can say is adjust your code and receive the information in real time and use that as input and do your calculations or whatever based on your algorithm is, and then find the result of print or return whatever. Just give them feedback and keep doing it on next step. Probably that'll be a loop and come back and forth. I don't know. It really depends on what's your code design and your style and your algorithm trying to implement that.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think due to the time limit, we might have to cut off here. And Ms. Liu, do you want to give a short lecture before we end the whole session?
Well, thank you so much, guys. And I'm so impressed. And I see 3 of you are running the stage perfectly. This is another success of C&C Talks since May the 1st. The first one started with Eric Lee, and today's Jerry. Thank you so much, Sean and Jerry and Bill. And you guys did an amazing job. And I really want to thank all our participants tonight and join our meeting. Thank you so much, Jerry. And I look forward to seeing you come back to, offer more experience and more sharing to all C&C parents and students. Thanks a lot, Jerry. And Sean again, and thank you, Bill. Thank you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
Excellent job.
Oh yeah, thank you. Thank you for it's my pleasure to be the host.